Welcome to our second session of the 5-part Marketing from Scary to Attainable webinar series that explores the different components to developing a plan with guidance from library system communications and marketing consultants with our Southeastern Wisconsin SUI Libraries region, which includes Bridges, Kenosha County, Milwaukee County Federated, Monarch, and Prairie Lakes Library Systems. Hi, I'm Heather Fisher, Public Information and Youth Services Coordinator at Monarch Library System.
And I'm Emily Heller, the Public Communications Coordinator at Bridges Library System.
If you joined us for the introduction session last week, you learned why building a marketing plan is important. It's for assisting you in your efforts to promote your library and its resources. Now we will talk about the who portion of building a marketing plan, along with our project timeline. Who benefits? Who is the audience that you are trying to reach? In order to answer those questions, today we will take a look at ways to get to know your community by doing research, using free online data tools, how you can identify target groups, how to define your library's value to those groups, and ways to identify your community partners and competitors. So why is doing audience research important? It helps you target your strategies and messaging. Once you understand who is living in your community and not just those using the library, you are able to tailor your marketing to specific groups, which leads to higher engagement and use. It also allows you to align your products and services. You may learn more about the preferences and needs of various community groups, and then can adjust your services to meet those needs. It will help you decide how much time to spend, both money and time. By concentrating your efforts on targeted groups, you'll be able to reduce costs, resources, and staff time, giving you a better return on your investment, or ROI. And it also helps ensure your full community is represented. You may find ways to highlight underrepresented groups and collections.
So let's get to know our communities. During the Q&A portion in the last session, Hofa raised the question, what is the most intimidating part or possible roadblock to creating your marketing plan? And for me, it's often just the overwhelming thought of where do I even start? So to avoid that procrastination paralysis, let's see what data we already have to work with. Libraries already gather a lot of data for the annual reports we submit to the state. So using the internal data you already have is a great spot to begin researching your audience. So some user information you might already collect or know is like the number of card holders, the ages of your patrons, what's being circulated and by who, and more.
After reviewing what you already have, you can go on to gathering additional external data. By comparing demographic data with your library user information, you can see who is and isn't using the library. This will help you figure out where and how to market your library. External data is available from many sources. And with that in mind, what other types of data could be collected? You can find data about population, ages, education, languages spoken, schools, and more. If you recall on the introduction slide last week, or on, if you recall in the introduction last week, we talked about how the steps of creating a marketing plan are like going on a road trip. Researching these who's are how you create your starting and end points. Once you have that, you can figure out where you want to go with your message and the best way to get there. After all, how can you start your journey without a good map? Here are some tips to remember when you find yourself surrounded by all sorts of data. First and foremost, don't get overwhelmed or discouraged. There's a lot of info out there. Second, you probably already have some goals in mind based on what you think you know. Drafting some starting goals will help you focus on what data to gather. It will make it more manageable, and it will help you get on the road. Third, consider who you need information about the most. Are there gaps in your information? Once you're at this point, start exploring data websites to find the most comfortable interface that provides the data you need. You may find you have to look at multiple sources to get a full picture of your community's demographics. Check out the resources list at the end of the presentation for places to start. Now, Emily will show you some examples of using online data tools based on a starting goal.
So for the first example, we will use to increase participation at library events for ages 65 and over as the starting goal. So what does our senior population look like? Let's begin with what we think we know. What do you see or hear or find at your library? Maybe more seniors have begun seeking resources. Maybe you know caregivers in need of information and events to go to. Or you see a circulation of the materials has increased for that age group. And you've seen reports about aging populations on the news. So let's look at some data to confirm or deny what we think we know. So one of the first tools we want to show you is the US Census Bureau's Quick Facts. It's a free, easy to use tool that provides statistics for cities and towns with populations of 5,000 or more, which may limit some of our communities. So stay tuned for the next tip. I'm going to open the live site here, pull it over, and we're going to start with Wisconsin as a sample. You type in Wisconsin here, click on it. It will pull up a column right here to compare with the rest of the United States with a lot of other data listed below on the table. One of those is handy, person 65 years and over. We click on that, it pulls that data line up to the top where we can compare Wisconsin at 19.1% of the population in that age group to the rest of the United States. Another great part about this tool is that if you don't want to view it as a table and for some reason you prefer a chart, you could switch to that view. Click on View Selected Locations, and it will pull it up into a bar graph like this. You also have the option, if you click on More, to print it or download a CSV file or email it. So I am going to close this tool and show you another. Okay, hopefully, can you see the back to the Census Bureau? I will switch over to the other census tool, which is the US Census Data Explorer tool. This one is a very, very robust data tool, and it provides detailed dashboards to the county and city levels. And just as a little warning, you can definitely get lost in here. Some of the tools within the Data Explorer are these survey reports, and I just pulled out some examples of ones that I thought would be useful when doing research. I also happened to pull out that populations is 65 years and over in the US. So let's jump on in. I did grab some screenshots of the tools before I dive into the live site because the tool is so detailed. I didn't want to get us all lost in there. So for example, I started with Waukesha County since Bridges covers Jefferson and Waukesha counties. And I typed it in, and the initial result pulled up the total population here. And over to the side is a quick snapshot of other facts. If you click on View This Result, it will open up the table data for all those surveys I referenced just in the previous slide. And there's a bunch of those to choose from. And for comparison's sake, I did Waukesha, the city of, pulls up the population here, and also has a view profile to get those additional facts, which looks a little something like this with the map, your borders, and some other facts below it. If we return back a screen and click on this, view this result, it will pull up the tables that we are looking to do some deep diving with. And those look a little something like this. And here I will open up the live site. And we're going to use this survey. And let it load. And here we go. It shows the column of the city of Waukesha for a total population and an estimate of the population of ages 65 years and over. I entered the survey that I wanted to see. And over here on the left are all these filters and results of other surveys you are able to pull up. And there's a lot of those. This tool also has that handy more tools where you can download it as an Excel file, a CSV file, you can share a link, or you can print it. And if you take some time to explore in here, you will find that there's a lot of other tools and neat things it can do for as far as pulling reports. And I will admit I have been lost in here before. So did we lose you? Do you remember why you were here? So Heather, now what?
Well, we know what our destination is. So let's take a look around and make some lists of our must-see stops on our marketing plan map so that we can plan a route of how we are going to get there. To make the most out of our road trip, it's important to plan out all before you hop in your car and hit the gas pedal. It's time to review our data so that we can draw some conclusions. We can even make predictions in order to identify our target group. We're going to continue working on our first example, which is increasing participation at library events of ages 65 and over.
Okay, so let's take a look at what we already knew from our internal data. And this is an example that I pulled from Waukesha Public Library. It's their circulation by age group info. And here their data showed that 26.2% of their circ comes from patrons ages 60 and over, which confirms what we thought we knew about our library users, that plenty of patrons age 60 plus are using the library in the traditional way. So here's a good time to ask yourself some more questions. Are there programs designed for this age group? Or what did its attendance look like at those programs? And do you need more programs for this group? So what else did we learn? The external data from the US Census showed us that 14.2% of the population of the city of Waukesha was over the age of 65, which equals plenty of people to come to library programs, 10,000 of them. And now we may predict the future. The census data also showed us that there are over 13,000 patrons to offer potential growth to our senior programs in the future, which means it's a great time to learn ways to market services to this group. And it also means that we adjust our target group range maybe from 65 down to 60. And this expands the age range in our starting goal to better match the range of data that we collect already internally.
Great Scott, I think we have our target group. You can laugh at me, that's fine. That was kind of corny. Now we're ready to define the library's value. What do you offer the identified target group of people ages 60 plus? For this age group, what's valued? Or what don't these patrons know about that could be valued? Make a list of anything you can think of. Here's some ideas. Socialization opportunities with others, help with technology, large print books and audiobooks, saving money on a fixed income, memory cafes and caregiver support, book club kits, and curbside pickup. And now, who are potential partners in the community? Think about who else is also serving the target group. Does the target group have barriers to using the library services or resources? Here's a closer look at finding partners. This time, we're going to categorize our list to sort it easily. Let's separate a list into 4 parts. The who are potential partners, how could we partner, competitors, and possible roadblocks. In the who are potential partners category, so the who else serves this group? What local organizations or businesses could you add here? It could be the Aging and Disability Resource Center, Department of Health and Human Services, assisted living facilities, medical offices, and local businesses. For the how could we partner category, ask yourself, can these partners assist me? Can I assist them too? Here's some ideas to put down in that category. Sharing data, sharing advertising, and being a cheerleader for each other. In the competitors column, write down ideas of who is offering a similar service or item. And finally, for possible roadblocks, why might the patron choose this other option? Is there a language barrier? Maybe mobility or accessibility limitations? Or perhaps it has something to do with interest levels. Basically, if you have an idea, write it down.
Now, finally, let's solidify that goal. And now that we know that our goal is the one, let's make it SMART. And SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And here are a few questions to help you formulate your goal. So what exactly for specific, what exactly would you want to achieve? And for measurable, how could you measure it? How much or how many? How will you track progress? Achievable. This is actually doable. And what steps are involved? And are they actually realistic for you and your team? And relevant. Does it align with other library goals or your community needs? Is it the right time to start a goal? And time bound. When do you know when you're done? What could be done right now? And what could be done maybe in 6 weeks or even in 6 months. And so here we took the original goal and made it into a SMART goal. So for specific, we wanted to encourage more attendance for in-person programs for that age group of 65. I'm sorry, 60 plus, not 65. And then we made it measurable by putting 25% as our goal increase. And maybe we'll count people at events or we'll be tracking registration. And is it achievable? We know we can do it because we already have upcoming programs to promote and we have a plan to create new ones in the future. And is it relevant? Yes. Our ADC partners have clients looking to learn more about technology and Medicare. And senior isolation is also on the rise, so people want more socialization. And we made it time bound because we added that 12-month window to complete our goal.
That was a great use of using census information to determine our audience. Let's take a peek at another tool for example 2. Here, our starting goal is to provide more marketing materials in Spanish. Here we go with more research. Buckle up. What languages are being spoken in my community? Let's begin with what we think we know. We've noticed Spanish speakers in the library. The circulation of materials in Spanish has been increasing. The current Spanish materials are being picked up, and there have been articles in the newspaper. And how can we get the real facts?
Great question. We can use GetFacts, a free, easy-to-use online tool that provides demographic data about Wisconsin, counties, and municipalities. And since I'm a visual person, I love the ability to be able to download graphics and tables. And this tool offers that. So we're going to launch this tool. Just drag my window over. We start by going up into the top left corner to Data Viewer. And then we're going to change the location from Wisconsin here to another spot. And for this example, we are going to do Racine County. So you can type in Racine, or you can just click on the map and hit Generate New Profile for selected location. It runs the reports for all these areas. And just as a disclaimer, Racine may already translate your items. Oh, I lost my screen. There we go. I'm going to pop on language, and it's going to scroll me down to this lovely chart to show me the data for Racine County for languages spoken at home. Here, you can save it to a working report, and I'll be honest, I didn't play a lot with this part of the tool, but if you get into it, it will save it up here for you if you have lots of reports you want to work with. Click here, it gets you a table, or you can download the image or CSV file once again if you want to play with the data. Another one of the reports I thought would be useful for our example, past the maps, is languages spoken at home other than English. And here's a breakdown, and the same tools apply here. So I'm going to go ahead and close this tool. We can talk about what we already knew about Racine County. So what I'm actually pretending to know about Racine County, I actually did read a newspaper article recently on the Racine County Eye that was about the cool programs that the Racine Public Library is offering this October for Hispanic heritage programs. And in that article, I learned that the Racine Public Library already has great bilingual events with many partners. So this is a really good time to maybe ask some more questions. Maybe attendees at those programs are looking for more Spanish language information or brochures. And what do we learn? So we learned from that Get Facts tool that 9.8% of the population speaks a language other than English at home. And we also learned that 73.4% of that population speaks a language, Spanish, at home, of that group. So after a review, I am confident that our target group is a solid one and probably already achieved in Racine.
So what's valued? Or what don't patrons know that could be valued? Let's define our library's value for that target group, the Spanish speakers. Make a list of anything you can think of. Our ideas include books and materials available in Spanish, bilingual programs, language learning courses, helpful staff members. Is there anyone at the library that speaks Spanish? And now, who are potential partners in the community? As we learned, Racine already has some incredible partners, but once again, make yourself an organized list of anything you can think of. Remember, you can categorize by who are potential partners, how could you partner, competitors, and possible roadblocks and barriers. In this case, potential partners could include Hispanic community centers, Spanish language media, nonprofit organizations, local businesses, and local schools and churches. Now let's make that goal SMART. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. The original goal was to provide more marketing materials in Spanish. Here's our new SMART goal: to create a Spanish language how-to library with us marketing piece to share in print and digitally to 4 outlets by April 1st. It's specific, it's measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Okay, so we know that was a lot of information dumped on you. The tools we've shared are great for gathering specific data. However, we know that most of you joined this webinar because you want to create a general plan. Without all of your specific goals in mind, a general marketing plan is going to be more of an outline of your plan. Remember, you can't tell everyone everything, and that's okay. It's okay just to have a simple outline to follow. You can break it down into smaller parts, and you can strategize and plan so that you can make it happen.
And even though it's general, you still need to know who your community is in some way, and that is okay to simplify as well. So use that annual report or your internal data since you already gather it. And then categorize into target groups. For example, it could be a card holder versus a non-card holder, or young families versus older individuals. And you'll have a chance to learn a lot more about how to find and define your audience in session 3 next week on October 16th with Deb.
Next thing to do is get organized. Decide how to organize yourself. It could be a spreadsheet, a calendar, or checklist. You'll have the chance to learn more about organization tips in session 4 on Wednesday, October 23rd with Deb and Tova. Both Em and I love to simplify our general marketing plans into a calendar format. So here's our tip for you. Begin with a 12-month plan. This makes it easy to organize things such as monthly promotions, ongoing events, and collection highlights. Take your calendar and fill in what you know. It will naturally help bridge any marketing gaps. Fill in your holidays. Fill in library celebrations, main library services, and any potential partner events that you have scheduled. There you have it, the who of your marketing plan. Now it's your turn. Remember to focus on community, targeted groups, library value, and partners. Here's a quick look at the resources we use for our research. We hope you will find them useful too. This list, along with today's recording, will be available in the SUI project website. We will be continuing our marketing plan journey next week for session 3, Creating the Plan with Deb Merritt from Milwaukee County Federated Library System. This will be Wednesday, October 16th from 1 to 2 p.m. She will cover defining and prioritizing goals and outcomes, staying on budget, utilizing marketing tools, and meeting accessibility needs. It's time for your questions. Lori, please stop the recording.